Yo, for your Makwaba Daily Update TV, Besram Sene number channel so. Moba hete Addo mamba subscribe or like Ashama one page semi BT so any be eti Jemrenia da Jemon 7 Mukuti Semani the Etoja etifo. Moba kaya enche biana Ghana ha insimbi sorry mentime ho ase efa Lithium agreement bia aban ye say woni company bi beko na ekobye kire no na omanya eye oman Ghana na yebetu lithium ewo ye man na percentage anka ban no ene company ne kwachese ka Ghana ebeteki 30% na foreigners na take 70% na kame se Likee ma Ghana for se he ahane he moboy krono ama sisi no so no mo sa de krono sem no adui ha ne Kenyan director of law IFN Professor Lumumba the sembi abatutu dwana etiefo utumi se wala shina na do papa na yemungro mkiti Professor Lumumba nsema wakafa sadi ya nanka ban ene company yi kwa Ghana nke chefa 30% foreigners no so komo so effort 70% no.
It's a lithium deal where we are to benefit some 10%, and a lot of civil society and individuals are kicking against it. We have mined diamond, gold, bauxite over the period. Do you think that these agreements that African leaders sign with so-called investors should be reviewed, that a better deal is granted?
I can't agree with you more. Africa appears to get the shorthand of the stick every time. If you have a deal where you are producing the bulk of what is desired by the other person and you are getting only 10% of it, you've got to ask yourself, what is the problem? If it is 60%, I would begin to understand. And it must be time-bound. And it's not only Ghana that finds herself in this situation. Many African countries continue to find themselves in this situation because we have not developed the technology, because we are too quick to sign on the dotted lines. And the time is now for Africa to wake up. Under the aegis of Africa Continental Free Trade Area and Africa Agenda 2063, I believe we now have enough Africans with the technological know-how to actually use the lithium locally. I believe that Africa can consume what is produced using lithium. It is unfortunate, it is painful when I see some of these things, when we celebrate what we ought not to celebrate. It's very painful. And let me tell you, all these individuals and countries who come to the continent of Africa do not mean well for us. They are not good Samaritans, they are bad Samaritans. And the sooner we realize that, the safer we are. Prof.
We thought coup d'etat is left in the 90s and 70s. But in recent times, we've seen coup d'etats plague with Africa, especially the Francophone-speaking countries. What should be the solution?
You know, people call these coup d'etats. I don't. That is the Western description of what is happening in countries such as you mentioned, Niger, Burkina. But we must remind ourselves that one of the most vicious colonizers was France, and still remains France. When they appeared to leave, they instituted systems of governance which are controlled from Paris, and they create a cadre of a political elite who continue to manipulate the population. And because the population is powerless, young men and women are beginning to emerge from the armed forces to sow the seed of protest. I hope that those seeds of protest will be allowed to germinate in the right direction, and that those who are of goodwill will use this interruption for the purpose of rethinking governance. In my view, I think there are going to be many more disruptions in the continent of Africa. We have a young population in Africa that is restless. We have a young population that is becoming more impatient. We have a population who think that the political class are not doing what they ought to do. And they are becoming restless, and the message is being sent to those who can save us. Save us. So call them coup d'etats. Others call them the beginning of a revolution.
I've noticed that when there's someone in power, the opposition keep saying good things. It profess solutions. But when the power changes hand, we go back to factory mode, doing the same thing. What should we be doing that young African politicians, when they eventually annest power from the older folks, wouldn't repeat the mistakes that we see today?
You know, my good friend Nana Kobinan Kesi, the fifth, who is a professor of political science and a traditional ruler here in Ghana, has written a book, Culture and Governance in Development, the Ghanaian Paradigm. And in that book, he quotes an African-American, John Henry Clark, who famously said, and I paraphrase, that African countries, upon regaining independence, adopted systems of governance which were not rooted in African governance systems. These alien systems, where we have political parties, where we have opposition, where we have institutions which we inherited, the time is now to re-examine them. I think they are part of our problem. And many people in opposition or in government, I now dare say, do not understand how these systems work. And Africa must now be brave enough to embrace systems which will work in the continent of Africa. Do I have a solution? I have ideas. And I believe that there is no one size fits all. What will work in Botswana is not necessarily what will work in Nigeria. And even within Nigeria, there may be different methods. But this is the time to ask, should we govern ourselves differently? Should we look into traditional systems of governance and borrow things from them? Should we go into different communities and borrow things from them? Otherwise, we are playing a game whose rules we do not understand.
Atiofo yemunwa semfufro mudia na atumi se ene day utie nsema ekoso wo man Ghana SFM because ene position na isi na Ghana military service position se wo no aban so pese isi no sa chema ne nkrofo na isi no akoye confusion kase ene isi wo military nim because isi MPP for no na do ne nkrofo pese o mu take over of all institutions as all sectors etiefo nsema fofra asabe todwa no yemongro muntie nsem no
meeting because of the presidency Emma President Akufo-Addo na chair sa meeting no ne nyina ne se asoja fo mpanimfo bi a ekita dibere bi e Ghana hanom na especially CDS no omampani Akufo-Addo and the team I ma dwen se ombesesa wom na sesa wom no enye kwan paso no msesa no na mom ne nyina no wom a wom betimi aboa ama election 2024 no Dr. Baumia adinkunim wey aye allegation Kesi Adams DH edebaye yene Zobila bedin komo one executive secretary edema Adams DH yene bedin komo release no the babonte no ye be kenkan kirekiremu amonyam ho ntiase enrada yujinahin ye president oko presidency one more one director of communications enra ono so any presidency aso ye no ed confirm yes meeting bi akoso okay presidency letter ba no na o ma confirm say meeting bi akoso but some meeting na course no annual rituals a afi bi ba be hyase a o ma mpani na security heads no ehia na okay letter ni ya was sempo se kokoba se o ma mpani changes bi a enye new zase ono pena Ghana constitution no amane tumi a obetimi asese obiada enti honom no letter no nkyerɛkyerɛmu na ma adwen na kwakwa bibi honom de but yene executive secretary de Adams DH bedin komo ne yabisa ne se no de aba se na Jubilee House for so eka enti ono ne source no etesen edisan komo no yebedi e honom tikai na ehye ne so now global info analytics yani Musa Dankwa so bedin komo na Musa Dankwa de abetu dwa biem se wey aye fresh polls aba John Mahama lead race no ahead of election 2024 na me ba cho percentage shay era John Mahama edi lead sa percentage na o lead no Ereboa ama John Mahama and then NDC a secure victory ede ama Ghana na we yan koma ena wiei yene Musa Dankwa so ebedi na Ashanti Post no shocking results and also yebedi nkoma se empo Ashanti Post no sa ene etie ana etime bacho yebekọ kodey na afen so yetimi awuram wo NPP NPs amology say some businessman be show mkutupa say press conference o meyeye na womo de A2 president Kufuor abayagu meka so mutu o mabayagu a the finance minister oye adwuma no ema president etekokoba se finance minister no performance match Ghana for expectation na just president no na failure na OSP report no chiremu a empanimfo a women MPs women majority side no every officials bo manim no women say enya de say ombekasa that report no enso the hanum yebedi ehon komo 2023 enemesisi ye year under review no ye hanum a ye hwa border fee so enema esisi ye ekwan a inflation fa so na epim ohamu chichemu aye aduonum enan ene achirepo miensa no nyina no yebedi hu komo ene enema chese ankoye ewafie etwemo ni ahwede be forward ka hye ne so se afi we say no aban hye ye ode aba ne se taxes ahodo a yetua no 2023 no aban se wo sign atumu 11 billion afi we etifa hye otrim the taxes a aban so agu Ghana for so no wasan hye mukina ese ode extra 11 billion eba be ka ho a enfa no oje free details no hanom government machinery honom no oko presidency a woman so budget no woman atum from 1.4 billion to 2 billion Ghana cedis we enen komo ebia yeba be didi na awie live on Gold 90.5 FM interviews ewom erika na share so yere Bernard Odo Tachi enso betrasi BOT ene mene no ene ba be mpunimpu na afi so nsemo a yede begu wonom no na yetimi achirechire mo fekofeko ama Ghana fododo na nso etimi ehune yekọ enso ene ne eba eti na chese eno enso ene no batem mame enchia Enoch Jetiate mame enchia Enoch Jetiate na face so mechia ni Brown mechiacha munyina eti na chese eno so ntino yankwa ahoma no so ntempa yebedi nkomo from Abontain 10 na face so ya hwehwe enema bi a yede ebabatam Director of Communications Edema NPP if I'm saying Richard Hiagba mamenchia no na mahuni story bi na sa story no I think say the time bomo a me sheda me den no ate time bomo a yebedi san common say time amamudi a nyame adoma Monday holiday dia but yebeba adwuma sisia no omai holiday no trafia sika ma obotom enti ebe better say or beba adwuma mom utifie na sika eba de yanka fine but utifie a sika ma enti holiday no o trafia akwa eden enti na che say eno so eno ba now yanko Adams GH message no so na fe yanhwe we eden na nsa na womo edisa release by na heading say confusion in Ghana Armed Forces as NPP Bamia forcing the current Chief of Defense Staff, CDS, and senior army officers out to pave way for the party boys ahead of December 7, 2024 elections. Enti na just we ahead na woman so ede ebaye but yebeko na yene okay yenko ahoma so ntempa na mene executive secretary edema Adam GH na yeka Adam GH mame emma the full meaning of Adam no or say anchoring democracy advocacy movement Ghana eti ote Adam GH enye bi Adam wa na oni Eve ewo edin true no ana azubila sanu ano no
okay.
Okay, so mame enya udini correct. Is that this is the first time me know yes interview. Azubila Emmanuel Abdul Salam. Me bacho eno ne udin.
Yeah. that's it. There's any anchoring democracy advocacy movement Ghana. Our Chinese here, Adam G.
Adam GH.
Operation Babs. Honorable Babs there.
Babs there, yeah, Babs there. Otaiba Pampaso.
Yes.
Babs also obesa achenti on time frame me. I on frame me. So tia ne ending komo. Eti say yate Adam GH a we nye Adam na Bible mu Ghana ni no akopi anamboa.
Oh, they be dinner no more. My Adam G.
I see. Now, you will release be dated on the 3rd of January 2024. Now, more alleged meeting be akoso January 2 out the presidency. I'm a president that chair. Ninyirane say one more person make changes our military move ahead of election 2024. Enra official statement or release from the presidency so abase and okrese on the 2nd no meeting be koso our the presidency one but the intention net time meeting no enye ne na mo kan. First of all, then see ya na se then ote ya what is release we babont any kan nin komo wi a you call presidency and so releasing him.
Yo, me that's it. Me say now three mu na yenya information every Ghana Armed Forces and pending for being changed. Na eba Ghana Armed Forces omoni Adam GH ye din kita ho bebre. Ensem bebre NST Adam GH ye ne Ghana Armed Forces for Asia obi ti say CDS amoama ene opopopra me ne omo din kita ho bebre omo ye me nan fofo pa me ne omo edin komedi dia. Na issue ba empo no popopra o me ne no e kasae e wo issue no so. Na ne e wo ho ne say ye wo colonels omo ko omo promotion interview. Now, I'm going promotion interview, no, or Popopra and a chief of army staff. Now, I'm going to promotion interview movie and I can say, or Popopra in conformity with the film as a promotion of Munyanko. Now, so one promotion, and so they have to go home. So they have been asked to leave the Ghana Armed Forces. They have been released from the Ghana Army. And to move normal release letter say they should come for their release letter and go out of the Ghana Armed Forces. Just because officer promotion bar and I'm so one year party mantino, they may not be able to work with this government. So they have denied them the promotion and they have and they are releasing them from the Ghana Army. Now near course on say and next Friday and anka meeting on the 2nd of January no. And next Friday I people anka on penny baba now so say Wayi amwama edi nanka ode opopopra no abaye CDS. Na say ode opopopra abaye CDS what it means is say amwama owo zisia na ono ena oni ni mate for omo no mo rank no ewo high say asoja for wo nyina no. Say amwama emu ni fi o say we CDS what it means is say oni ni mate for ni nyina they are going home so that they can be able to promote opopopra and make him the CDS. So that those who are their colonels that they will promote them, they will also come and work with Amwama. Now, say you Ghana Armed Forces, any MPP Armed Forces. Now, say Obi I bring the Mojanya could look colonel. I will call promotion. Now we say promotion. You find my own team. Want to mean about when you know you release them work with fee. They are selling to Amwama MPP sympathizers. I promote to Amwama. I don't think this is the Ghana Armed Forces we are looking for. This is a reliable sorter. Me Nick Kennel for basing the past 5 Akasa Amoma CP Akacha say they have been asked to come for their release letter from the Ghana Armed Forces. I assist him in fact I host them. Now Omo Babes Addo na Adam Akroma Adam G ya near Bresa issue no the precedents that has set in the 2020 election. And Nipa Bako 8 I'm not sure in the 2020 election. Now, Senipa 8 actually through the hands of Ghana Armed Forces. Now, I come and say 11 months near for election. Now, I saw them pending for our officer, sympathizers of MPP, and I said, their political colors are not known. They are denied promotion so that they can only promote those who are MPP sympathizers. And they are taking CDS to bring someone who will be a new CDS to fight for the MPP interest. I think Ghanaians and journalists and everybody have to cry loud this time to save the soul that we are going to lose in 2024. Meaning, the 8 people that they kill in 2020, 2024, they are going to kill more. And you and I should not sit down to allow this thing to happen. When Prof called me, I told him that you are my friend. But when it comes to this issue, the Ghana Armed Forces is superior than any individual.
Meba. Azubila.
Yes.
What did you say? Upon prepare, ye can say me. Wa fa phone afre wo e was release ya yedi hun komo yi.
Yeah, me no na kasa be.
Aseme no ka jiro.
En fa na o se me no ye nanfo. Na nka bibi se aba na nke se nka bitumi ba na na afi. Na nka yedi asem no kita on say be de issue na ba bonten. Abrama me no nka ho asem na de ade no. Se na ne bunyo so kra. Now, in fact, he says he's disappointed in me because or no enemy any serious. Yeah, now for power. But the enemy tell us that Ghana Armed Forces now you want an institution, an individual. The current crop of soldiers are you want a soldier for almost serving a regime. But the Ghana Armed Forces as an institution belong to all of us as Ghanaians. Who enemy I make say. So this is the reason why there is the need for us to fight for the welfare of that institution. And the Ghana Army is a reputable institution. It's our bragging right. So for us to sit down for them to turn the Ghana Armed Forces into one political party sympathizers force area, we are not going to accept that. So in fact, I told him point blank, I said, I'm not doing this thing because of friendship, but I'm doing this thing because of Ghana. Everybody is crying. I don't think this is a government that we have to sacrifice 8 souls to have a miserable government like this that people are suffering. So if we are suffering because of a miserable government like this, and today we are going to another election, and they are making ways and means to kill more in 2024 in order to make some people or to maintain power. I think Ghanaians are very angry. So the soldiers who reported this issue to me, they were highly tempered. Because you can imagine the soldiers that are going home with Amwama, the senior officers. Look at the colonels that are also going home. All these people also have their loyal young soldiers who are other rank. And they are almost happy. When this release Bonteno, may catch a soldier from my friend and move foot in the I want to look. Adam G. Say, Penny and you be and found us at BBC and the BCDR. And Ghanaians have themselves to blame. People are highly tempered.
And a soldier for Nibia, one more kind of far phone free say, this is the content of the meeting.
At you for the master somewhere, Jemre. Nya dajo daily update TV na afi so comment section hoso mbitima for comment yes so e be reply mo yeda masi bebre mbitimi so ahye na ma like one pensim beti so ene be etie yada masi